Pleased to be joined by Arman Jovic here at PDT Scouting. If you haven't followed him yet on Twitter, go follow him. He's doing the best international hoops scouting work that you can find on the internet. And he is very familiar with both Illinois' commit, David Merkovich. We've got another video up on the channel on him. And then primary Illinois target, Dame Sarr. So I want to talk through some of Sarr's situation and what he will bring to a college team if he ends up going that route with you. Obviously, Sarr right now, there's a lot of questions. His relationship with Barcelona ended on a rocky note. Sarr just posted his goodbye to Barcelona today. He is draft eligible this year, and obviously it's long been rumored he would end up at Illinois. So what do you make of the current situation with Sarr and what his next potential steps in basketball might be?
Thank you. Yeah, good question. I honestly see Sarr right now as a college lean more than anything. I think for him, obviously, his goal is to play in the NBA, and that's definitely been something he's focused on him. But again, he won't go to the NBA draft. Well, he'll enter the NBA draft, but he won't stay in the NBA draft if he doesn't get a top 20 guaranteed. And I think he doesn't have the resume to really guarantee the top 20 pick unless obviously an NBA organization really feels strong that he's better than a Noah Eason or he's better than a Ben Sarr in the international ranks, which I mean, I personally think that I honestly think he is better than those guys. So it just really depends on if the NBA team views that way. If not, again, he's going to commit to a college as he's doing the NBA draft process. So he's going to have the Axel Lindenberg kind of route where he can explore both. And for colleges, honestly, like I don't mean to like pry upon the agencies or anything. They're working on that note, finding him a situation. I will say though, it's definitely gotten a lot more out of hand than it was recently because I thought for most of the time we all assumed it was probably gonna be Illinois. Now kind of trending more so he's looking for the biggest opportunity, biggest usage, and biggest NIL package. So it's shifted a little bit. So he's definitely the highest pay. He'll be the highest paid international player we've ever seen, most likely.
Yeah,
So
the game's obviously evolving. You hit on the idea that it is NIL related in general. And look, I think there's a lot of questions with Illinois' situation specifically right now. I think Brad struck gold with his attempts to bring in Kasparis Yakashonis and Thomas Lavisic last year. Even Will Riley consider him an international player. I think Brad wants to keep doing that. He's clearly prioritized international scouting. He sent his staff overseas. He's got great relationships there. I think everyone thought this made sense for a variety of reasons. The one thing I don't think Brad Underwood or Illinois staff saw coming is exactly how much the market has changed from last year to this year. Because, I mean, there are numbers floating around for what they paid to get those players last season. You have to pay 4 times that this season for a similarly ranked player. It's just the way the game is working right now. And I don't know how much money Illinois has, but I certainly know that at a certain point, especially if you've almost agreed to something with a player and then the agency is pushing them to go back on it, the relationship gets soured upon. I don't know if that's what happened here at Illinois, but it sort of seems like it's going down that path. As we sit here today, do you get the sense that Illinois is still a realistic option for Sarr and his team, or do you have anything you can share there?
yeah, I'll share as much as I can. I mean, I think right now, as it's tracking, I do actually not think Illinois is gonna get him, to be honest with you. It's just kind of trending upwards of $3 million, which is a lot of money for a kid who hasn't played college basketball. I'm not saying I think he could probably be, 16, 17 point per game scorer, but to bet on an international kid who hasn't played, you have to really just hope that he is that guy. And for I guess what it seems Brett Underwood, again, he only paid like as far as you mentioned, like not even half of that. It was cheaper than half of that. So, it's a lot of money. I think money resources can go down, 2 portal additions. You can get Adam Miller, you can get Andres Stojakovic, and both of them for one game. So Adame Sarr. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I think right now, as it seems, I think they're finishing up or like finalizing or getting close to the decision. So it's going to be in the coming days. And as of now, I don't really think they're going to go get him, but you know,
Yeah.
um, I think he might stay in conference. We'll see.
You might notice there's a lot of lights on behind me. There's a big ring light I'm using to record this. You want to know why those lights stay on? Because of Underdog, because of these ad reads, people.
Yeah, we heard your feedback. You're annoyed that we keep putting underdog ads in the middle of our videos. Well, guess what? We got to keep the lights on and we need some people to sign up for Underdog Fantasy. If you like these videos, if you want us to keep making videos, sign up with Underdog Fantasy, use promo code SLEEPERS, and they actually have an awesome offer for you. You can receive up to $1,000 in bonus credits. 50% of your first deposit will be distributed in bonus credits, and you get a free pick. And Cart, I got a pick with Underdog Fantasy for this weekend that I'm already eyeing. We got the Pistons and the Knicks, first playoff series in a while for our favorite team. Cade Cunningham over 27 and a half points. I'm taking higher than that for my pick with Underdog. Promo code SLEEPERS. Sign up with Underdog Fantasy. It helps the show. It helps us keep making these videos for you. Back to the show. We know these things are fluid. They can obviously change. You mentioned potentially stay in conference. Are there any other schools to note in the Big Ten?
Yeah, just one West Coast team, maybe two, but probably Oregon, most likely. I'd say they're dipping their chips in the sweepstakes. So,
Okay.
and they have a reason, because they need another guy. They already have Jackson Shelstead who could score, but they need another initiator or scorer. So it
Yep.
makes sense.
Do you think that Sarr, like just talking fit wise, obviously, I would actually like that with Shellstad because one of my concerns with Sarr is if you bring him in expecting him to be your leading scorer, that's not necessarily a perfect fit for his game. Like he can do it. I've seen footage of games where he goes off. He was very good at the Hoop Summit. But I just think like you compare it to Kasparis last year, even what they're going to try and do with the Visage now this year. I feel like you can build an entire offense around those guys. They have a little more gravity to their games than Sarr does. Sarr to me feels like a guy that sort of just gets his within the flow of the game, more so than you're running him, asking him to make decisions, create for others and create for himself. Is that a fair read based on everything you've watched with Sarr?
Yes, that's fair. I actually thought of Sarr last summer, U18, when he was the number one option and kind of creating the whole offense. I thought he was actually pretty bad last summer. And part of it is because Italy they struggled, but most like the biggest reason why they struggled is because they put Sarr creating the offense and kind of asked to do everything. So he averaged, 12, 7 rebounds, 4.5 assists. It was great until you look at the efficiency, the turnovers. A lot of it he struggled a lot. And then so you look at Barcelona's role, he's not going to play that role in college where he's off the ball a lot, but obviously he was very efficient, just kind of relocating himself, kind of asked to be a secondary scorer. So now you put him in a college system where the goal is for him to, produce to get into the top 10 or the back end lottery. You kind of have to have a high usage. So it really is going to depend on the coaching staff who picks him up and kind of puts him in a proper, split place to showcase his game. So I do think, honestly, I really hope Illinois can get him because I do think Adam Fletcher, the way they do strength and conditioning there could help a ton. And then as well as the role, it would make a ton of sense because you're going to play him with an elite front court and good guard play. But again, everything in basketball now is going to be hindered by, the highest paid off for now. So
Yeah.
it's hard to really.
It's one of those tough ones where like I just think it's frustrating, right? Because Illinois seems like they did a lot of work here early just to not get the benefit in the end. And maybe it's a learning lesson going forward for some other future targets they'll have. But I mean, Sarr's
Yeah.
obviously a great talent. He's gonna be good wherever he goes. He's gonna be a professional basketball player one day. There's no doubt about that. I would frame the recruitment just as far as this, like even if he was their priority one and you miss on him and you have to pivot elsewhere. In the end, I would argue I think Illinois would have been better for Sarr than Sarr might have been for Illinois. I think Illinois would have really catered things to him. They wanted to continue this pipeline of international guys. They just would have made this big promotional story of like we are centering around this kid. And I don't know that he's going to get that at Oregon. Maybe he will. Maybe he'll go somewhere else. I don't know. But I think even while doing that, there would have been some frustrations with what he can and cannot do. And that's probably why Illinois has ended up in this spot, deciding it's probably not worth the price point where it's headed. So we'll see. Do you think that wherever he goes, is he a one and done at this point, and that's the full plan?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, one done. He's gone after a season. Their goal is to go lottery, top 10, wherever you want to put it. Every kid wants to go as high as they can. So, but yeah, he's one done certified. I think he'll play in his way in there. I think he's really talented. I just think the biggest thing he needs to do is just add a little bit more muscle, get strong, obviously get quicker, get more. He's already quick, but get stronger, and then just produce. That's all you need to do: produce, showcase your game, and then go out. So
Yep.
we'll see. We'll see.
One productive college season should be enough. All right, that's Arman. Thank you very much for having him here. Follow him at PDT Scouting for all of your international basketball scouting needs.